Hi. So on June the 6th, 2024, Language Jones posted in this video here regarding fake polyglots, and he devoted the entire section of the video specifically at Michael Campbell, founder of Glossika, and went overnight from being relatively unknown to becoming one of the most controversial creators in the language learning community. Now, he took down fake polyglots, and I'm not claiming to be a polyglot. I want to get that out of the way right now. I speak English natively, I speak Spanish pretty well, and I speak German badly. But I know a bit about language education. I don't know as much as Dr. Jones, of course, I don't claim to. But, I'm a guy with a nerdy interest in languages, and I can tell you, the elitism you run into when you leave the world of amateur language learners and start interacting with linguists who have advanced degrees in the field can be a little off putting. And whether intentional or not, Dr. Jones became overnight the poster child of linguistic elitism in the language learning world. Now, for guys like me who want to learn languages but work full time, 40, 50, sometimes 60 hours a week, it's really hard to be able to devote the time you need to learning a language. To the elitist, it's not so hard because, if you're a college professor, say what you will, those guys have a lot of free time that people like us don't. And they also have a lot of connections. They're dealing with international people on a daily basis. I'm not. I'm in the rural Midwest. I work as a freight planner at a trucking company. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the connection. So how's a guy like me going to learn a language? Well, that's where mass sentence learning comes into play, because mass sentence learning really allows you to turn lots of times into learning time that would not be learning time. For instance, I do have hobbies. I go to the gym occasionally. I ride my bike. I like to go for walks, walk the dogs. I wash dishes. Guessing most people probably do that. I have chores around the house. And basically, with a mass sentence program, anytime you're doing this other stuff, that can actually be learning time as long as you have a set of charged headphones handy. Um, Otherwise, you're going to be wanting to devote 3, 4 hours of learning a day. And how are you going to do that? How are you going to fit that into your day? And yeah, I know there's programs that claim you can learn a language in 30 minutes a day, but they're full of crap. You learn languages by the process of forgetting and remembering. And you're not going to get that remembering and forgetting and re-remembering from 30 minutes a day. You need more repetitions than that. So what's Glossika? Basically, it's an online card deck with sentences organized according to universal grammar principles from the easiest to the hardest. You also have native audio that goes along with it. And most people look at this and go, what do? You just listen to sentences and repeat them, and somehow you learn a language that way? Well, that's what Language Jones was basically saying in his video. And he also says, yeah, maybe it works for, quote, autistic people, but not for the rest of us normies. Yeah, nice, Language Jones. Um, Anywho, while you probably can learn a language this way, actually, it need to be one that's really close to your native language in grammar, vocabulary, and structure. Like, a Spaniard could learn Portuguese or Italian just by listening and repeating sentences. But I'm not out here to prove that Glossika works for a narrow set of users for a narrow set of language. I'm out here to prove that it can work for anyone. And to do that, you're going to need to do more than just listen and repeat. And I'm going to need to pick, a somewhat difficult language, something that's pretty distant from English. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to learn Hebrew and Glossika. And I picked Hebrew for a couple of reasons. The main one simply being that it is a pretty difficult language for English speakers to learn. It's quite distant from English. And the Glossika Hebrew course is, let's face it's not their best course by a long shot. There are better ways to learn Hebrew. It's neglected. It's not a commonly studied language. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn Hebrew using Glossika, and I'm going to do it to prove that Dr. Jones is 100% wrong. I'm not going to learn just by listening and repeating. I'm going to do about 15, 20, 30 minutes of actual study every day, but I'm mostly going to be listening and repeating. That is the truth. And I'll be honest, I think it was pretty petty the way Dr. Jones went after Michael Campbell. I mean, Campbell approached the guy, Glossika approached the guy with a sponsorship offer, and his response is to make a hit piece on him, you know. And, you know, it's just not nice. Anywho, that's the plan. And this is the introduction. And so, Dr. Jones, ani yada she'ata lomer ivrit. Well, now so do I. It's on like Donkey Kong, bud.